We're live.
What's up, everybody? It's Q and Chop.
How we doing today, guys? Q and Chop today. We got Jesse Cole today. Jesse, how you doing?
Excited to be with you guys.
It's a blessing to have you here today, Jesse. Thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So, Jesse, I want to ask you something. That's the first question I'm going to ask you. Who is Jesse Cole? Like, give us the background on you.
I am a father. I am a husband. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a crazy guy who wears a yellow tuxedo. I'm an owner of a wild baseball team called the Savannah Bananas. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. And hopefully I'm someone that can inspire others to stand out, be different, and have fun more every day.
That's a bless. You know, when I first saw you in LinkedIn, I'm like, wow, someone lost a bet. I'm like, someone lost a bet on I don't know. I'm like, but you know, going into your page and reading about you, and you know, listening to you and speak and read your book and all that, and going back and forth, I'm like, oh, okay, that's not a bet. You know, it's something more into that.
Yeah, well, I think my yellow tux I've been wearing for 9 years, and you know, I'm considered a showman in baseball for a baseball team, and you know, I think everybody has something that makes them stand out. It's the best version of themselves, and I think we need to amplify it. I think a lot of people sometimes are just comfortable fitting in, but we're born to stand out, and I believe that, so I kind of live it. And every time I put this uniform, my tux on, it's my uniform. It means it's showtime. So even when I'm with you guys right now in audio, I'm wearing the yellow tux. I'm wearing it all the time. I mean, I think that's what I stand for, and that's what our team is. We're going to be dramatically different than any other baseball team, and I want to be dramatically different as a father, as a husband. I believe normal gets normal results, and if we do things like everyone else, we're going to get results like everyone else.
How many kids do you have?
I have one amazing son named Maverick.
Oh, I love that name, man. Maverick. I like that. I like that.
Me too.
Yeah, I got two daughters myself, so I know you loving the kids. I'm waiting for my son one day.
Yeah, yes, I hear you.
So how did you come up with the yellow tux? Do you want to give the viewers some insight on that?
Sure. When I first started, I was 23 years old. I became a general manager of a very poorly performing baseball team. Let's put it this way: the worst team in the country. That's why I got the job as a GM at 23. And I met with everyone in the community, and everyone said baseball was too long, too slow, too boring, and they weren't interested in coming. And there were no fans coming to the game. In fact, we had 200 fans coming to the ballpark. My first day, there was only $268 in the bank account. And I called the owner. I said, we can no longer be a baseball team. He said, what do you have in mind? I go, we're going to be a circus. He goes, what are you talking about? I go, our players are going to do choreographed dances every single game. We're going to have grandma beauty pageants, flatulence fun nights, salute to underwear nights. We're going to serve donut burgers and donut dogs because they're heart-stoppingly delicious. It's going to be an absolute party and circus. He said, all right, we'll see what we have nothing left to lose. So we tried it. And so it became a circus. It became a show. And many years later, I said, all right, if I'm going to be the showman on the field and having people dance and sing and pieing people in the stands, I got to be dressed like it. So my biggest influencers were P.T. Barnum and Walt Disney. Walt Disney because of his vision to think dramatically different and see the impossible, and P.T. Barnum because of his showmanship. And so the first night I decided, opening night about, 9 years ago at this point, I decided to put on a black tuxedo with tails and a big black top hat. And it was about 100 degrees and I almost melted. And I said, this isn't going to work. So I went online and I searched and I found brightcoloredtuxedos.com, found a yellow tuxedo. It fit with our colors. Bought it, put it on for the next game, and it just took off. People started taking pictures. People started calling, is the yellow tux guy there? And then all of a sudden it became a brand. And, you know, when we became the Savannah Bananas a few years later, when we bought a brand new expansion team and became the Bananas, it just fit even better. So I wear it all the time. It's like I said, it's my uniform. And, you know, I think I try to give permission to our entire staff to be themselves, to be fun, to be a little bit unique and not take themselves too seriously. I think especially now, the world is so serious, and I understand it, but we need levity. We need laughter. We need more smiling. And so when I'm going through the airport or getting ready to go give a keynote speech with a company, people are laughing. There's pointing, there's videos being taken, but I'm okay with that. If it brightens someone's day, even in a weird way, I'm open for it.
Plus, that's
right. Like you're going to build that brand too, so that's pretty good.
Well, I'm sorry, what's that?
I say, yeah, building that brand, so that's good. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
that's
well,
that's
and again, it's not even just building a brand. It's just it to an extent, it's being me. You know, I'm wild, I'm crazy, I'm a little different. I don't think normally. I try to be as fun as possible. I'll come in dancing and singing. So basically, I'm just amplifying. So not everyone has to wear a yellow tux. I would definitely say not to do that. But what is that part of you that people remember about you? What's memorable? What's remarkable? And turn that up a little bit. You know, don't be afraid. Don't hide some of those unique things about you. And that's, you know, what I talk about in my book. And when I'm speaking, I say even businesses, they're too afraid sometimes. You know, they want to follow what their competitors are doing, not what's best for their customers, what's best for their people, and most importantly, also what's best for themselves. You got to give yourself oxygen first. I know you guys fly. You get on a plane and they say, you know, before giving the oxygen mask to your kids, give it to yourself. And I'm like, that is crazy. Like, I'm thinking about my 2-year-old son. I'm like, no way. But the reality is you can't take care of them if you don't take care of yourself. So with this and what I'm doing, I'm just trying to be the best version of myself. And hopefully that will help everyone else as well.
That's amazing how you put it, Jesse. What made you become an entrepreneur? Like, what decision or what made you become who you are today?
Well, when I started as a GM at 23, and I basically treated it like I owned the team then. And I would never forget after my first year, and we were able to, you know, almost quadruple the attendance and double the revenue. And the owner came to me at 24 and he said, Jesse, what would you like your salary to be? I go, what are you talking about? He goes, whatever you want your salary to be, let me know, and we'll go from there. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm getting to name my own salary. And so I asked for a $10,000 raise. And I said, but I'm going to increase revenue by more than $100,000. He said, awesome, done. And from that point on, I started dictating my own salary, the budgets, the revenues at 24 years old. A few years later, he gave me ownership of the team. And then a few years later, I bought the whole team from him. So I started becoming an entrepreneur because I was in it. You know, I don't think it's something about, everyone says, find your passion. No, start doing something and you'll start realizing, are you passionate about it? And so for me, I always wanted to play baseball. My goal was to play professional. I tore my shoulder in college and that dream went away just like that. I never envisioned as a kid I'd be, you know, owning a baseball team. I envisioned playing the team, I never thought I'd like to be on the front office side. But then I started doing it and I realized seeing the joy. And here in Savannah, Georgia, we've sold out every single game. And seeing, you know, 4,000 plus fans singing, dancing, smiling, laughing, cheering, deafening noises, just wild. I have such joy in that. So the entrepreneur just kind of took off once I started doing something and taking ownership in it. And now we try to build that with our whole team, this entrepreneur mindset. You know, what are they doing every day that they get to have ownership, that they're empowered to do, to try things, to test things, to promote things. And that's what our team's doing right now. Everyone's an entertainer. Everyone's a performer. Everyone, from our ticket people to our operations people to our hiring people, everybody. During this time, we're not selling. During this time, when we are out putting out content and taking people into each other's houses and doing cooking with our staff and doing videos with our staff and pictures with our staff and dancing with our staff. And so that's very entrepreneurial mindset. It's not just, hey, let everyone else do it. Let us get our hands dirty and let's do it. And I think that's how you can build some great leaders.
Yeah, I come from the same bracket as you did. You know, I was stuck with baseball. My whole life was soccer. I was determined. I was determined to be a soccer player. You know, becoming one of the greats. You know, going to college for it. Tore my knee. And I never saw myself becoming something else, anything else, just like you did.
Yes.
I don't see myself owning a wireless store, a contracting business, or working for someone. I always envision myself, going pro. That was my thing. Then you got to hit reality, and opportunities come in, and you got to be there to take it.
100%.
You cannot just let them by because someone else will take them. You won't.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
What has been the biggest struggles when at 24? Because you have had to have some stress days. Because I'm 24, right now, and I have some stress days right now. But how did you overcome those stress times? Especially like a non-functional team that you were given at 23, and now a year later you're quadrupling everything. But I knew you had to have some rough passes around that time.
So let's go back to 2016. And we took over a team in Savannah, Georgia, and there was professional baseball there for 90 years. We weren't professional. We were college summer baseball. And we came in and we were, told the whole community, we're here. And they could care less. We sold 2 total tickets in the first 3 months. In January of 2016, I got a phone call at 4:45 p.m. on a Friday. I was at my best friend's wedding. Emily and I get a phone call from one of our team members. They say, we just overdrafted our account. We're completely out of money. And when we drove home from New Jersey from that wedding, my amazing wife, Emily, turned to me and said, we have to sell our house. At that point, we put our house on the market. We sold our house. We emptied out our savings account, the little money that we had, and we went and started living on an airbed. And going to, I remember Walmart and shopping for the 2 of us for an entire week with only $30. And that's not even real food you can get when you start shopping like that. Many people would say that was a very, very stressful point. And it was to an extent. But when I look back at it, I go, I don't even remember it. It was a blip on the radar. We had many sleepless nights because of the struggles we were going through, but also because we were on an airbed. And we would get up and walk around and just think. And the reality is, this morning, I woke up to go to the bathroom at 3:00 and I saw my wife, Emily, pacing around the living room. She's going through it right now as well. When you look at, for her, she had an Airbnb business that was thriving. That's basically been shut down now because of the virus. She had another side business that was thriving. That's been shut down because of the virus. And we have a team right now that has sold out every single game, but now we don't know if and when our season will start. So we're in that stressful point again. But what great leaders do, and what we've learned to do, is to be so transparent with our people. We're having a call in just a little bit. We're going to tell them everywhere where we are as far as our financial situation, what we need to do together, how we need to rally together, and paint a picture of hope. And I think that's one of the greatest things that my wife and I have learned from so many amazing mentors is we are always focusing on what's next and being optimistic about it. Right now, I'm wearing a wristband and it says optimism and gratitude. Those are all 2 words for the year, but I'll tell you, those have been our 2 words for many years. I write a thank you letter every single morning when I wake up. I've been doing it since 2016. It's called the Thank You Experiment. I think about all the great visuals and the images of what we can do and what we create when our season comes back. I talked to Emily about what's going to come back when she starts being able to take care of people at her homes again in Airbnb. And when you paint that picture, that gets you feeling hope, and what you got to focus on what you need to do right now. What's your next at bat? So many hitters in baseball, they'll strike out once, strike out twice in a game, and they're already done for the game. They could have 3 at-bats, 4 at-bats, 5 at-bats, but mentally they're done. Hey, we went through a failure 4 or 5 years ago, and we couldn't sell any tickets. We're going through some challenging times right now. The world is. You can even focus on all the tough things that are happening for you, or you can focus on what you're going to do. And if you want more, you got to do more. So what are you doing right now in a positive way to move forward? And you know what? It's not always about selling people. It's about how can you serve people. What you guys right now, you are offering a platform, a podcast to serve people. You're not trying to sell anybody anything. That's a way to do it. So we're asking that question. What can we do to serve people? So our whole team right now, we are putting out content, the Savannah Bananas, to actually share fun, joy, and laughter and be there and engage. That's what we can do right now. Is there revenue right now? No, there's not. But I'll tell you, when this does come back and we all get together to celebrate, hopefully they're going to remember everything we were doing now and celebrate with us. That's what we focus on when we go through tough times.
That's amazing. That's amazing what you just said, And I believe what you said,
I appreciate it. Belief's important.
Yeah, you gotta believe yourself. You gotta believe on doing it. And tough times always happens, but it's life. It's life. You gotta go. You gotta ride the boat with it.
100%.
You can't just stop still and think that it's gonna go away itself. No, you gotta just pressure itself and just do it. Just work with it. Work what you got. And like
focus
you said,
on
now.
Focus on what you can control. Focus on what you can control. Everyone, there's so much worrying now. There's so much fear. There's so much uncertainty. What can you do? We can't solve everyone's problem, but we got to first solve our own problem. We got to put ourselves in a good spot, give ourselves oxygen first, then take care of our people, then take care of our organization. And then, your family's right there with the top. So it's, it's yourself, family, then your people, and then your fans, your customers, your organization from there. And I think that's kind of the mindset we do. What can you do? And when that's the toughest thing for anybody in any organization, if they have uncertainty, they don't know what they can do, then you lose purpose, you lose meaning. And if you don't have purpose and meaning, good luck. So that's where we're trying to rally the troops. And that's, for you guys, I know you mentioned you sold a business. I mean, congrats. I mean, that's obviously great timing in the scheme of things. And now, what's next? What's your next at bat? And I think that's the question we're constantly talking about.
Yes, what made you do the thank you experiment?
What's that?
What made you do the thank you experiment? What gave you that idea?
So it's grounded in two things. So number one, in 2015, I read the book Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and basically the premise of win the morning, win the day. And he almost died twice, once in a car accident and another time because of depression. And he realized he needed to change his mornings to start changing his life, changing his days. And so he came up with this acronym called the Lifesavers. S for silence, A for affirmation, V for visualization, E for exercise, R for reading, and S for scribing or writing. And so in 2015, I realized I was waking up every morning. I'd look at my phone. I'd watch, see news, see other crap that I shouldn't have been seeing. Didn't start my day on purpose. Read the book, changed it. Started my day by writing, by reading, by working out every morning. And I had this great ritual. And then I read the book One Word by John Gordon about how 87% of New Year's resolutions fail. But he started something just focusing on one word a year. And I started saying, all right, me and Emily, let's focus on one word a year. And in 2016, I chose the word care. And I said, all right, if my word's going to be care, that's going to be the word I focus on every day. I think about how am I caring? I go, I need to hold myself accountable. So I said, I'm going to write a thank you letter every day. So what I did is I started a list of all people in my life, old coaches, teachers, parents, family members, friends, authors, colleagues, speakers. And I got about 50 people on the list. I go, whew, it's going to be tough to do 365. But I started writing. And what happened is I started hearing from, my sophomore English teacher wrote me a 4-page letter back. She said, I've taught for 30 years, but I've never received a handwritten letter. I started receiving letters and calls from some of my biggest idols and mentors like Simon Sinek and, Mike Michalowicz, who we've become close friends. And it started changing my life. And then I started just waking up every day, and that list and creating it and adding people to it stopped becoming hard. Because every day I saw people that were doing great things and that were offering value, not only to me, but other people in our communities or anywhere else. And so I started doing it. And so now I've written, coming up to a couple thousand thank you letters every day. It's part of my ritual. And it's changed. And now with our team, we have the same idea, one fan a day. How can we let one fan a day, one person a day know that we're thinking about them, that they made an impact in our life? And whether that's a quick selfie video, whether that's a note, whether that's a text, something. And it's changed. When you have that gratitude and you're grounded in gratitude, everything else seems just a little better. And I think that's really important, especially now.
Well,
that's great.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a really, really important piece of my daily routine. And I get as much joy of it as I think many people do when they receive a letter. It feels great to tell people that you're thinking of them and that they made an impact. And so I challenge everyone the next week, just write one in the next week. We all have 7 people in our life that we could thank. And you're going to be amazed at what happens and the people that you hear from and the impact that it made on them. Truett Cathy from Chick-fil-A said it best. He said, there's a telltale sign of anybody or somebody that needs encouragement. And they're like, well, what is it? He goes, they're breathing. And so that's the sign. Everybody in this world, more than anyone, needs encouragement. And so how are you encouraging people? And a thank you letter is a great way to do it.
Yes, especially right now, looking at tough times. People would like to hear, a little thank you note and all that they done great stuff for you. That. And yes, I have a friend that he owned a bank, and then his ritual was his tellers will do 5 thank you letters to random random people that had the bank account there,
Love it. I love it.
So every day 5 people will get thank you letters.
What if
Keep writing them.
What if everybody what if everybody did that? If there was more thank yous out in the world, what would happen? Do you think there'd be less crime? Do you think there'd be less hate? Do you think there'd be less, just so many of the negative things that are out in the world if we just had some more thank yous? And it's not that hard to do. It takes me about, I write a more in-depth one. It probably takes me 2 to 5 minutes a day, 3 to 5 minutes a day. Instead of scrolling through social media, could we commit to doing one of those?
Yeah, it doesn't take that long just to, especially with now, like shit, like a selfie or a video or something like that, and it won't take that long. But yeah, like you said, what will happen if we give more thank yous?
Yes,
than less hate.
Yep, 100%.
There'd be less crime, less hatred, less negativity in the world,
less depression, less isolation. You think about right now. Think about this right now. So many people around the world are at home, shelter in place. They're stuck. They feel stuck. They're in complete isolation. One of the best ways that we can reach them is through mail. So imagine this. They're going through a tough day. Their kids are running around. It's wild. They can't get much work done. They're not sure the stability of their job. But someone they haven't heard from in a long time sent them a letter that they're thinking about them and thankful for them for something that they've done. Wouldn't that just change someone's day?
Yes.
Do you think that since you didn't do any advertising, you think doing little things like that helped you build that the ballpark and have
we did tons of marketing in the beginning, but it failed because we were marketing like everyone else. We were doing newspaper, radio, social, all that stuff, and it wasn't working. Now we spend $0 on marketing, and we're so fortunate to have a wait list in the thousands for tickets because what we focus on is serving, not selling. And so for us, it's, we're fun. Our brand, we have a breakdancing first base coach. We have a senior citizen dance team called the Bananas. We have a male cheerleading team called the Mananas that they're known as the Dad Bod cheerleading squad. We do some weird stuff. We have a professional high fiver. We do music videos with our players like Can't Stop the Peeling, Old Town Road. We just did Dancing with Myself because we're all at home with our players and staff and to Billy Idol. We have a lot of fun. But the reality is that's how we have built our brand. And, I would question any brand, do an audit. Out of the stuff you're putting out, how much are you asking for things from your customers versus how much are you giving things? And I'm not talking about giving something, hey, here's this free thing if you sign up for this. Here's this free thing if you give me your email address. I'm talking about giving without wanting anything in return. And the more you do that, the more your fans will give to you without actually even wanting anything in return, just because they want to give to you because you've given so much to them. That's the question that we need to ask. And so right now, especially, no one wants to be sold. I don't believe anybody wakes up and wants to be sold, advertised to, or marketed to. We wake up and we want to be served. So how are you serving? If you have a brand, audit yourself, question yourself. Are you just someone that's about me, and you're a narcissist almost putting things out about yourself? Or are you putting things out that actually provide real value? That's a difference. And then you'll have people that love you and support you. And the reality is it's better to have people that love you than kind of like you. We always keep track about how many followers we have, how many likes we have. Well, you know what? If you have 100 people that absolutely love you, they'll tell everybody about you. And that's better than someone kind of liking you. So we're focusing on if you build love, that means you are constantly giving. If you think about the people in your life right now that you absolutely love, whether it's your mother, your father, your spouse, significant other, your best friend, do they constantly call you and ask you for things every single day? Or are they just there for you? Are they there for you and they're giving to you and they're there to laugh, they're there to talk, they're there? That's what the great brands of tomorrow will be. They'll be that best friend, that mother, that father, that's unconditionally there, that's consistently able to serve you. That's what we should think of ourselves as, and not just someone yelling from the top of the mountain, I'm here, who wants to buy from me? It's a whole different game when you look at it the other way.
Yes. I just want to piggyback from what you said right now. Yesterday in the morning, I was watching your YouTube videos, and one of your 1 minute boost, you were talking about instead of nickel and diming our customers, we look to how can we spend more time for them. For them, instead of nickel and diming them, what can we give to them? What can we give our the ticket holders and all that? What can we give them? Not how much can we take away from them? What can we give them more?
Well, the question is, what if everyone had the question, how can you spend more money on your customers? How many CEOs, presidents, leaders are asking that question? And I was so fortunate. We were doing a workshop, working with a bank, and the CEO of the company, in the middle of the whole leadership was there, sitting at a conference table, and we were talking about how to deliver this fans first experience. And he sat there listening for 30 minutes. And he said, guys, we're asking the wrong questions. The right question isn't just about, hey, how much will this cost? The right question is, how can we spend more money on our customers? And everyone kind of was stopped in their tracks. And I was like, I can't believe he just said that. And it was a different way of looking at it. So to give you an example of what we do, every one of our fans, it's all inclusive at our ballpark. You get all the burgers, the hot dogs, the chicken sandwiches, the soda, the water, the popcorn, the chips, the cookies all night long. It's not just, hey, here's a burger, a hot dog, and then we got to charge you $6, $8, $9. It's as much as you want from when the gates open to when the gates are closed. And that when the gates don't close until the last fan leaves. So is that a different, do you think people take advantage of us? You better believe it. But it's not about that. I'd rather create a product and experience where people feel like they're taking advantage of you, as opposed to where they feel like they're getting nickel and dimed. And you tell me when people leave our ballpark, are they saying, oh, man, I feel broke, like you do at a lot of stadiums, where they feel like, wow, what a deal tonight. We made out like bandits. And if we have people feeling like that with your brand, they will tell everyone, and you'll have a lot more people that will jump on what you're doing because of that feeling. And so again, how do you make them feel? So we have the questions again, how can we provide more entertainment, more value, more of an unbelievable experience, as opposed to how do we extract value? How do you make more money on your customers? No. How do you provide more value and your customers will take care of your bottom line?
Yeah, that's a different point of view, man. Definitely, like getting a buffet of food at a ballpark game. I can see why you sold out last couple of years. That's awesome. So, like, just about the food part, you think that's because most people like to eat? So, do you? That's why you did the unlimited food. Or what was the
Put
idea
yourself in the
behind
customer's shoes. So, the starting point for all innovation, I believe, is what are the friction points in your industry? What are the frustrations? And how do you eliminate them? So, for us, it started with baseball is long, slow, and boring. So what do we make it? Nonstop entertainment. There's no dead air at our ballpark. We have a DJ announcer in the middle of the grandstand. We have a full 20-person pep band playing. We have an on-field host who's on the mic throughout the whole game. It is a circus. We eliminated that boring. Now it's still long and slow, and we're working on that. We've done tests on how to make the game even faster. We've played some unbelievably fast, nonstop entertaining games, which we'll probably be testing sooner than later. Now the next thing is, all right, put yourself in the customer's shoes. What else is frustrating about going to a baseball game? You get nickel and dimed, like you talked about. $8 for this, $7 for this, $20 for this, whatever. It's outrageous. So we said eliminate that. The next thing that we thought about frustrating, when you go to buy your ticket, then there's all those convenience fees and ticket fees and shipping fees and all that. We eliminate all of it. An $18 ticket's an $18 ticket. No extra fees. Same thing with shipping. $24 shirt, it's a $24 shirt. Free shipping. Forever and always. You keep doing that. So for instance, even our ballpark, we eliminated all of the ads. We created an ad-free ballpark. There's not one ad at our stadium. So not on the outfield, not in the program, not in the announcements. Because as I said, I don't believe anybody comes to the ballpark to be advertised to. Now that might not be immediate, something that frustrates people right away. But I'll tell you, if the ballpark starts looking like a Yellow Pages and all of a sudden you keep getting hit with all these ads over and over on the speakers, that is a frustration. So we eliminated it. And we threw away hundreds of thousands and potentially millions of dollars because of it. Because we believe in long-term fans over short-term profits. So how do you come up with that? Put yourself in your shoes. What would be the frustrations and eliminate them? And that's what we're constantly asking every single day is how do we eliminate that to make it a better experience?
Yeah, so at every game, one of your employees from the crew goes out on the cover, right? And like you said, they'll park like the customer, They go wait in the line like a customer. They'll get their food like a customer, and then take a seat like a customer. So they get that experience to see what's missing. What made you go to that route? What got you like thinking about having undercover? Like you said, like you said right now, filling your shoes in the people's shoes. I do understand that part.
What made us do it?
I've done that before, but
everybody. I mean, every CEO, every president, every person in any staff can think how it is to be a customer, but once you get in their actual shoes and go through the experience, that's when you know what it's like to be a customer. So we committed to it. I don't know, 3 years ago, I took off the yellow tuxedo. Everyone on our staff, every game, someone goes undercover. And I remember last year, I pulled in to park, and I hit a pothole, and my car bottomed out. And I was like, this is the worst first impression ever. My car just bottomed out. Now, I didn't know about that. No one raised that to my attention. No one knew about that until I actually did it. And then we have parking penguins, which doesn't make sense. We have our staff dress up as penguins and park their cars. It's ridiculous, but we thought it'd be kind of funny. And as I'm walking in, the parking penguins had their back turned to me, and they were eating burgers. And I videoed this. If you search Undercover Fan on YouTube, you can watch it. Now, that was a great learning moment. The visual and the image that we're trying to create, and the experience we're trying to create, I didn't even get it. I didn't see it. It's not real. And so that was a learning moment. Guys, hey, we're always on stage. I sat with the fans, and I would talk with the fans, even though a lot of the fans knew my voice, and I saw video cameras start showing up that they knew I was sitting with them. But a few fans that didn't, I asked, what are your favorite parts? It's my first time at a game. What should I expect? When was the last time you sat and talked with your fans where they actually experience your product? And how can you talk to them in a way that is not biased? So that was just my experience. Imagine times in that by 29 and having, 30 different people experience it. So, the last time you went through, do you know how long it takes for someone to answer the phone? Do you know how long it takes for someone to call you back? Do you know what your voicemail sounds like right now? Is your voicemail like everyone else? Please listen closely as our menu options have changed. Is your voicemail fun? What's your hold music? Be your own customer. I guess I get very frustrated with people saying, I think our experience is pretty good. Well, have you gone through it? Yeah, it sounds good on paper when you talk to people, but have you actually gone through it? And so we relentlessly do that. And we relentlessly think what it's like to be in their shoes. I think that's the only way to get better. You need to make more decisions based solely on your customer experience and not based on how you can make more money or what you think is best.
I gotta give you that, Jesse. Yes, I totally agree with you. You have to, as a entrepreneur, as a business owner, you have to think like as the customer. You gotta think like them. You gotta go and see it by yourself, because you can always take an employee and be like, all right, go out there and take a look of what's missing, right? But they're not gonna be looking like you, like we do, right? Like I will look at some stuff differently than other things that a regular employee will look like. Will look at it.
100%.
So it takes, you have to go onto and get dirty and go look at it and see yourself. Like I said, that pothole. No one told you about the pothole, because maybe for them it wasn't a big deal, but for you, as you have to take the you have to go and look.
100%. 100%.
So one other question I got for you. So how did your fans first mentality push the Savannah Bananas into a national spotlight? I know the game is crazy, but like, what made it national?
Well, it first started when we named the team after a fruit. There were no teams named after a fruit. We named ourselves the Savannah Bananas, and then, fans were all over it, and positively and negatively. Locally, we were crucified. The owner should be thrown out of town. You guys are embarrassment to the city. It was negative. But nationally, people they named the team the Savannah Bananas. So people started talking. Then we named our mascot Split. Then we named our Bananas senior citizen dance team. Then we had a breakdancing first base coach on the top 10 of ESPN for his moonwalk in the middle of the game. So we kept devising an attention plan to stay in front of people. And then all of a sudden, MSNBC flew down here to do a story, and Entrepreneur did a full article on us. And, we've get reached out to by production companies because it's a little tiny college summer team that was failing. My wife and I were on an airbed to now every single game sold out in a wait list in the thousands, which isn't happening at the highest levels of sports. It's a great little story. And to me, we're still in the first chapter. It's just getting started. We're in Savannah. We feel like we're doing a great job. We feel like we can do a lot better. But when we take the show on the road, when people start seeing what we're doing, and I think it'll continue to be a story because we're not doing it the conventional way. If you really want to make a difference, you got to first talk about what are those things that make you different. You got to talk about your differences. It's not a story if you're doing it like everyone else. It's not a good story, I'll tell you that. So because we are focusing so much on the entertainment, our characters and the fun and the ridiculousness and the goofiness and the entertainment, and also we have the best record in the baseball for the last 4 years and have won a championship, that's compelling. And I believe that when you have more fun, you perform better. And so we are going all in on fun, fans first, and the entertainment, and the baseball, the bottom line, and the success is taking care of itself. And to that and many, it's a pretty compelling story.
Yep, you got to play hard and work hard, And who came up with the name of the Savannah Bananas?
I know we had a name the team contest, and that's a part of it. Always involve your fans, involve your community. We think everyone thinks, oh, we know it best, but the reality is no, it's not true. We let our fans come up with our mascot name, come up with our team name. We let them design our shirts, design our jerseys. We let our fans be a part of our show. Our Bananas and Banana Nanas are strictly fans that are volunteering to be a part of it. So I always question, how can you involve your fans in your experience and in your product? And so that's what we've done.
That's helped a lot, most definitely.
What's that?
I know that's helped a lot, most definitely, especially with people coming. If you can get the fans to come in and be a part of Bananas, I mean, that's big time. Not 100%. Many people can do that.
So how did you develop a zero turnover style?
We had zero turnover our first 3 years. We've had turnover the last 2 years. Is that what you're asking about, our turnover? And I've developed a mindset that zero turnover is not necessarily the best approach. We have our staff do a future resume. We want to know what's best for them in the future. And a lot of times it's not with our company. There's other opportunities that they're working towards. So we are focused on our people first, what's best for them, and then what's best for our company. So yes, we had zero turnover. We built something pretty special, and then we brought some people from the outside, and some other people moved on for new opportunities and new challenges. And we understand that. We get that. Again, what are the frustrations and friction points for your people, your employees, your team members? And we think about that. And, we have, there's no set PTO time. You can work when you want, you can work when you're not. I mean, we try to just take care of them. There's not a strict dress code. We try to treat our people like adults. We have celebrations on their first day. We have celebrations constantly, not just for birthdays, but for 100 days when they're here, for their year celebration that they're here. We're thinking about that. Our fans first director does a great job. So again, what would be a perfect experience for your work? I want to build a place that I would want to work at. And I've been fortunate to be able to do that for myself, and I want to do that for others. So that's our mindset.
That's amazing. So Jesse, when you're, like I said, not on the baseball team right now, right? What hobbies do you have? Like, what hobbies do you do? Like, outside of baseball and outside of Savannah, like, what do you do? Like, what's your free time doing?
But to go back, father and husband. So, I'm very intentional. I wake up every morning between 4:30 and 5. I have my morning, including my running, my working out, my writing, my thank you notes, my reading. By 7 o'clock in the morning, every morning, I grab Maverick and we play. And so that's we'll have breakfast together, and we'll take walks and we'll play. And then I go in the morning, and when I come back in the afternoon, we spend more time together and we play. And my wife and I, we enjoy walks and talking and connecting and listening to books and watching shows like anybody else. For me, I love craft beer. I enjoy. We've hosted beer festivals at our stadium. I love craft beer. And I love to read. I mean, the reality is it's not a bad thing that I love reading business books. I love reading about things that we can do to innovate and market and be better at what we do. But yeah, I mean, it's like anything. I love watching shows. I love going on trips. Disney, huge fan of. Carnival, I love going on cruises. So, it's like anything. I think my wife would say I'm obsessed with what I do. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I love it. I'm passionate about it. And imagine if everyone was obsessed and absolutely loved what they did for a living. I think the world would be a better place. I think most people are disengaged and come home with less energy because of the work that they've done as opposed to feeling purposeful and energetic. And I'm so glad that I'm able to have that in my life.
That's awesome. Amazing.
How you find time to balance everything? As you know, I see you part of like the C Lab, and you got your own podcast, and obviously you got the team, and you're an author. You're into a lot of different things, man. How do you find time to delegate time for all that kind of stuff?
I don't think I'm an expert in a sense in time management, but I prioritize. I make sure I win the morning, win the day. Before 7 a.m., I've done as much as I think a lot of people do in a given day, and then throughout the day, I prioritize things that give me energy. Everyone, ask yourself, what's your energy list? Right now, not just things you like, but what gives you energy. And if you write that down, now look at your calendar. Is it backed up? For me, it's creating, sharing, and growing. And what I mean by creating, it's coming up with ideas that we're going to do at the stadium with our ballpark. It's coming up, we're doing podcasts, doing new shows, doing videos. Sharing is like this, sharing on a podcast. I will always agree to be a part of podcasts and sharing our story, get on stages and speaking and sharing, talking to our people about what we're doing. That's sharing. Growing is learning. And so that's whether listening to podcasts or reading, which I do every day. So if I look at most of my day and it's between creating, sharing, and growing, I've done a pretty good day. And that's what I work on every day.
That's amazing, Jesse. We just want to recap with you. You've been amazing coming into the show. All of the
pleasure.
Thank you for coming in once again. Where can our listeners
just search Yellow Tux and you can find me? I realize that if you search Yellow Tux on Google, you'll find me. I'm everywhere.
I like that. So Q, yes. We had Jesse Cole today. Owner of the Savannah Bananas, author of the Find Your Yellow Tux, great father, husband, doing a lot for his community, for his fans. And Q, you got anything else to say?
Before we get off, man, I gotta say, man, you're a Wofford kid, man. I went to the Citadel, so I can't, I was a big fan, but I don't know anymore.
Oh, yeah, we had some good battles against Citadel back in the day.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But now we like I said, we really appreciate you coming on, man. Just giving that insight as an entrepreneur, man. Somebody that came from nothing or that went through coming from nothing and making it something. I remember the time I was on an air mattress, and before I became a teacher and all that kind of stuff. So just understand the mindset behind it. Playing basketball, you go through those trials and you got hurt. Like Chapo said, he got hurt. So just that the resiliency to bounce back and then make your new lane on something else. So and that's not something easy to do, but it's
well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. It was a pleasure being with you.
Thank you very much, guys. Today's episode was with Jesse Cole. Thank you for listening, and we will see you the next time.